and welcome to the 14th episode of Host the Pro, where disruptive influencers talk about e-commerce marketing. Today we have Carl Gillis with us. Hi, Carl.
Hello, hi, nice to meet you. And
Nice
thanks
to
for
meet you
having me.
too.
Thanks for having me.
Amazing to have you. Amazing to
Mhm.
have you. Carl is a UX and user experience and customer experience expert. He's the co-founder of AG Consult. And we're going to talk about stressful moments during the sales process on your websites. Okay, so
Mhm.
listen carefully. I'm going to have a lot of tips, a lot of great information from Carl, and let's dive in.
All right, let's go.
So, Carl, why talk about stress? Why not talk about the beautiful moments and the beautiful images and the amazing
Mm.
experience? Why talk about stress in the sales process?
Well, I think in general that most of the people you will talk to during this series, they will talk about the beautiful moments and the UX design, which is very important. And people will talk about A/B testing, or they already talked about A/B testing. But what I see most of the times is that people are trying to polish a turd and put some lipstick on a pig. And there are many websites that have deeper problems than the general UX design. Um, we just finished the research with about where we interviewed about 1,000 shoppers, online shoppers, and apparently reason number one why they don't buy on a certain website is that the product information is kind of like meh, not answering their questions. It's written from a more technical point of view. And the second reason, and that's more concerning the stress moments, is the unclarity about shipping cost. When will it be delivered? What about a return policy? Will it be easy or difficult? And all these questions on most websites are not answered very clearly. And that is one of the main reasons why people are like, whoa, I don't trust this one. I'm going to look somewhere where it's clear how they will treat me once I am a customer. Because everybody knows that every website will promise them heaven on earth before the sale, but people are really like, yeah, can I trust this website? Will it be delivered on time? And the return policy. So, and those things are most of the time rather easy to fix if you want to fix it. But yeah, that means that you have to be open as a company, and that clarity is important. But yeah, get rid of those legal texts and make them more approachable and be very open towards those things. They should be
Well,
your USPs.
if it's easy to fix, is it easy to know? Because typically people and e-commerce owners and e-commerce marketing leaders, they run A/B testing, they know what works.
Mm-hmm.
How do I know what doesn't work? From the people that dropped off, a page,
Ah,
didn't,
yeah,
complete the purchase. How do I know what's the reason for that?
you have to ask them. It's something that. But what I really love about evolution, I'm in this business for 20 years, and 20 years ago, one of the only techniques we had was like user testing, like one-on-one people using the website. That was very good to find like deep problems with the structure of the website and something that was not clear. But now one of the methods I really love is like surveys, but really short surveys where we only ask one or two questions and we make sure that the survey pops up at the right moment. So on a product page, it could be when people have looked for it for I don't know 30 seconds, or they've scrolled X percentage on the page, you can ask like, are all your answers questions? Do you have is there some information missing for you, or what is the main reason you don't buy this product? And that will help you to find out like, oh yeah, maybe we don't talk about things that people want to know, because sometimes it's very difficult because you have your view on the product, but you are not your customer. You can never ever be your customer. Impossible, especially when you develop your products yourself and try to sell them online. And also during checkout, just ask why. A typical page would be the shopping cart page, or the first step during checkout. When you see, like, for example, 5 seconds of inactivity, just pop up a little questions like, hey, what's holding you back from completing your purchase today? And sometimes you will find out things that are like, oh, really? I remember, like, just an example. It was an international web shop, so they were active in many countries, but also in Eastern Europe. And when we asked, like, okay, what is holding you back from purchasing this product? In some countries in Eastern Europe, the main reason was, ah, I'm not sure that this product will be an original quality. I'm afraid that it will be, what is it, counterfeit, like a cheap ripoff. I was like, oh yeah. And just by knowing that, we added a little text saying like 100% original quality guaranteed all the time throughout the whole web shop. And that indeed increased conversions, it increased sales. That is something that you would probably never find out that, oh yeah, in some countries, maybe it is rather a problem. I also
Yeah.
remember when we were working for Yoast, and it's not directly e-commerce, but Yoast is like one of the most popular plugins for WordPress, an SEO plugin, and they have a free version and they have a paid version. And we had worked on that the page about why you should upgrade to the paid version of that software, of that plugin. And then we came to a halt. It was like, yeah, nothing moved the needle anymore. And then we start asking, hey, what is the main reason you don't upgrade to the premium version? And of course, reason number one is price. That's always price. We have it's not that important. But reason number two, and it's an open field, so people typed it in different versions, but the summary of it was like, yeah, I'm using the free version already a few months, and I've put a lot of work in it, configuring and then putting text. When I buy that new version, the paid one, do I have to do all that work again? And we were like, what? Of course not. And also the people at the Yoast software development company were like, really? So this is something that you would never find out. You can't do a brainstorm like, oh, what do we think that will hold back our customers? But by asking Matt, it was like, oh my God, that's why people are hesitating. So
Yeah.
on that product page, we only added one sentence that said like, hey, when you upgrade to the premium version, we will upgrade, or we will, I would say, transition all your settings for you. So all the work you have done before will automatically resort and move to this new version. And sales went up with about 10% just by removing that pain, removing that barrier. And it's, yeah, like you said, you have some general barriers, but probably for your products, your audience, the country you work in, there will be some specific things. And the more you know them, and then you can anticipate those barriers, you can counter them, the fears of the people. Yeah, and most of the time we see that those things result in bigger uplifts than changing the color of a button and all these like
Yeah.
cosmetic surgery things. Because
Yeah, let's use best
yeah,
practices and try,
yeah,
this
yeah,
list, this checklist,
yeah,
and this doesn't work, and this doesn't
yeah,
work, and this
yeah.
doesn't work.
And
Of course, you
it's
didn't test.
those things are important. I really believe in the UX guidelines, really guidelines. They are there. That's why I'm a UX person. But once your website is like, yeah, kind of okay, the things you should change on your website should impact the behavior, the psychology, the way people approach your website. And that will not be done by, oh, let's make a square corner a little bit more round. No, you have to know like what do people expect, what are their main questions about this product, and what are their fears, their problems, their barriers, becoming a customer. And when you answer those things, that will probably mean a big step forward for most of your businesses. And once
Yeah.
you've done that, you can fine tune again. But I think for most companies, it's really like knowing those things is incredibly important.
So first, in order to know, you need to ask, and this is like
Yeah,
plain simple. Ask your
it is.
customer
Ask
exactly what
your
they
customers. Yeah, and yeah, and
But
people
it's
think
even
like,
more
really? Yeah,
important, to ask on, what kind of product would you like to have? What kind of, shipment method would you like to have? Ask
yeah.
about the fears,
The
right?
fees, yeah, yeah. Because what the question like what kind of shipment methods would you prefer is a difficult one because then you ask them about what do I want. Sorry for this. Oh, there was some sound in the background of my computer. Sorry, but the question should be really like, what do you want? Are there any questions not answered? Is there something missing? Really, questions that are the answers will be as objective as possible. Because if you ask them like, hey, would you do, if we would add this, would you use it? That's a hypothetical question. That's very difficult for people to answer. Most of the time, people say, oh, yes, of course, I will use it. And then you add that feature to your checkout and nobody will use it. So as usability, as user research people, it's really important to ask like very, direct, and I call them factual questions. It's not about an opinion, but it's like, hey, what answers did we, or what questions did we not answer? Is there any information we're looking for that you can't find on this product page? What is the reason that you don't buy from us? Also, if I can give you a tip on an e-commerce website, especially on the thank you page, that is one of the best pages to introduce a short survey. We always do it, and the answer rate sometimes is as high as 50%.
Wow.
And that's crazy. And you ask those people two things. One, what is the main reason you bought this product from us? That's to understand, like, yeah, what do people like about our brand? It's important to know. Why do they buy with us? And then the second question is, was there anything that almost made you hesitate to buy from us? And those people, they have a relationship with you, and they will probably say something, and you're like, and then you can up once again, solve these hesitations, take away those kind of frictions from your online business. And yeah, just ask them. It's
Yeah,
yeah, it's
just
a,
ask
it's a,
them.
yeah, just ask them. Don't be afraid. Don't do brainstorms. Don't sit together with a bunch of people and, oh, what do we think that people don't like about our website? Just ask your customer.
Yeah, and this is your option to not make it, this black box no one knows about. And also, it's so important. We just spoke before this interview about what drives people to do or not to do certain
Yeah,
things, and probably fear and fear of losing something is
yeah,
way stronger than
yeah,
this,
yeah,
the willing
yeah.
to earn something, right?
Yeah, and it's the uncertainty. Yeah, it's yeah, it's always also in real life when you go out shopping in real life. There's also it's always in your subconscious. It's most of these questions. It's not very your active brain is not asking all these things, but it's your subconscious that is like, yeah. Can you trust this website? Is this really the product you need? Do you really, really need it? Is this the best choice? Will they deliver it on time? If this is not a phishing website, I hope. It's always in your subconscious, and the more you can anticipate or take away those fears, the better it is. And you should do it on your website. But what I think when it comes to retention, it's very important to also do it after the sale. One of the, in my opinion, best e-commerce websites here in Belgium and the Netherlands, it's called Coolblue. And it's also people voted as the most customer-oriented web shop. One of the things that strikes me the most that is in the confirmation email and the confirmation page on the website, but especially the confirmation email, the delivery date is already there. Because that's what people are afraid of. Like, yeah, now they have my money, but when will I see my product? And in that confirmation mail, they have a link to the return policy, and to the return form. So you don't have your product yet, but you can also already see, like, okay, when I don't like it, it's okay, because they already gave me the link to the return form. And that brings ease of mind to your customer, because otherwise, during that period of I ordered it and the moment that I can use it, that it will be delivered, once again, your subconscious will be full of those questions. That it's a phase called buyer's remorse. Everybody regrets the moment they bought something. It's once again, oh, do I really need it? Will they ship it on time? Oh, what if I don't like it? I hope they have a decent return policy. I hope it doesn't cost me a lot. So, and if you succeed in taking away those stress moments, anticipating those stress moments, people will remember it and will say, like, wow, yeah, I remember that store there. There was already a return form on the confirmation email. Next time I will buy there, because yeah, that seems to be very trustworthy. And you have to continue that process during all phases of the customer journey, before they buy something, after they buy something. Constantly ask people, yeah, what can we do better? What are your problems? How easy was it? How happy were you with our delivery service? And if you keep on asking all these little questions during all these phases of the customer journey, those answers will really help you to improve your customer service and the customer experience. And the impact will be way much bigger than changing whatever thing on your website design wise, unless your website really sucks.
So I know stress moments are very much personalized, and it depends on the brand, the target audience, the
Yep,
country,
yep,
and lots of
yep.
factors. But is there a list where you say those would be the main stress moments we identify on e-commerce websites?
Well, yeah, the things that I just said is like, is it available? Is it on stock? Yes or no? What people really hate is when they place an order and then it says like, oh, the delivery time is only 3 weeks because we don't have it on stock yet. It's not available anymore. So those things, stock, delivery time, hidden costs. And that depends from country to country. In Belgium, we expect shipping to be free. Everything should be included. But I know there are other countries, like for example in the Netherlands, it's just our neighboring country and half of us share the same language. Some of the extra costs are accepted. They have like a little insurance and that's accepted. But in Belgium, whoa, if you do it, people will never buy from you, never ever. So those things are very clear. And then it's like what I said is the return policy, because that's what a lot of people are always afraid of. It's like, yeah, what if I don't like it? If I buy clothes and it doesn't fit me or I don't shine enough in that new outfit, how easy will it be? So those things should be incredibly clear and yeah, write them in a normal language. Don't get rid of the legal stuff, because when you have that legal stuff, people will like, whoa, fuck. It will be difficult because I really don't know what do they if they have to reread those sentences over and over again to understand it, they will be afraid. And another thing we always see is like contact information. People want to know if something goes wrong, how easy can I reach out to customer service? And it doesn't mean that because you have a phone number on your website that everybody will call you, because that's what some new shop owners or e-commerce people are afraid of. But it's just like, okay, whew, they're reachable. Let's go. And I think
Yeah.
another stress moment, but this has to do with social proof, is that customers don't want to have the feeling that they will are the first customer ever on this website. They want to know, do they have other clients and how happy are those clients? So whatever you have from reviews, other social proof elements is incredibly important. I think those are the 5 or 6 main elements before somebody buys on your website. It has to do with the general fears of people. It's like, can I trust this website? Am I the first customer here? How happy are they? And how will they treat me once I am a customer? And will they
So
ship it
it's
on
kind
time?
of, it sounds to me that it has a lot to do with trust,
It
right? It's all the
all,
elements
yep,
that eventually build trust. You
yep,
know,
yep.
anti-stress are actually trust
Yeah,
builders.
it's all trust
Um,
builders, yeah. And
yeah,
they should be genuine and then okay, don't lie about those things. Yeah, people like it when they see it's like delivery, it's out of stock, but it will be in 5 or 7 days. That's much better than just like, yeah, it's in stock, and then when you buy it, it's like, oh, sorry, we lied to you. That's don't do those things. That there's a big, you have IKEA everywhere in the world, but I think they've changed it. That on IKEA, most of the time you can only see when it's in stock after you have logged in, but people want to see it just on the website. Is this thing available or not? They really hate it. Like first create an account and then it's like, I'm sorry, we're out of stock. Then you're like, what? I've wasted 2 minutes of my life and I've shared my personal information like a password with you just to know that this product is not in stock and delivery time will be 3 weeks. So don't, yeah, be very clear about those things. That's, yeah, open communication is incredibly important. Yeah.
and let's talk about the after sale experience, because this
Mhm.
is before the sale and all through
Yeah.
that customer
Mhm.
journey, and call it
Mhm.
a customer journey and not a funnel, please. It's a
Yeah.
customer journey that you're actually designing.
Yeah.
What's happening with this customer journey after sale? How do we keep building that trust and keep reducing that stress once someone bought from our website?
So have a normal conversation is for me is very important, and understand that the customer experience only starts when somebody has bought from you, because until then it has been a prospect. So the customer experience stops the moment that you have the deal. And then we have that first thing that we already talked about. It's like you are happy because you have a sale and you're like, yeah. And the customer is in a completely different mindset. He's like, oh fuck, what have I done? It's not really like that, but it's really it's called the
Yeah.
regret phase or the buyer's remorse phase. So once again, the subconscious is like asking all these questions, like, oh, it's not a phishing website. Can I trust this? Will they deliver it? So then once again, clear communication, proactive communication. When somebody bought from you, a clear confirmation mail, like overview of your order. I've seen beautiful examples where they already also had a link to, you can still cancel or change your order.
Hmm.
People will not do it, but it gives them trust. It's like, wow. And then, like I said, the link to the return form, the return policy, the delivery date if possible. And then, very important, the closer delivery comes or when it changes, communicate about it. People hate it when you say, like, yeah, it will be delivered tomorrow and it only arrives in 3 days. That's it's like, oh no, oh no, oh, will it come? But if you just
Yeah.
send a mail like, oh, due to heavy load of the transporters or due to this or have been a problem, your package is delayed with 2 days, that's okay. People will not come out and, and be mad at you, but they will
Yeah.
be mad when you don't communicate about those things. So that's for me very important. And the second thing that I've been talking about recently at conferences is that don't upsell immediately.
Hmm.
Some of most e-commerce websites, you buy something and even in the confirmation mail it's like, oh, do you also want this and this and this, and I'm like, fuck, you just have my money, I don't have received my product yet, and now you're trying to get more money out of me. And I think that what I call the trust email flow, that's the confirmation message,
Mhm.
and the upsell flows, they should be completely separate. You should have first a what I call a recap email flow, and that is like, hey, thank you for your order, Carl. I think you will be very happy with your new television. And yes, it's in stock. We're already shipping it. Delivery time is on Friday. And then on the next day, it's like, okay, Carl, your TV is out. Yes, you will get it on Friday. And then on Friday morning, hey, Carl, today you will receive your new television. Do you want some information how to set it up and how to get Netflix on your TV or connect it to a satellite dish? Here are some videos that can help you. And then on Saturday, hey, Carl, did you succeed in setting up your new television? And were you able to watch your favorite series or your sports game or whatever? But no sale, no sales, just that, just a normal conversation.
Lock the good experience from the
Yeah.
first
And then
sale.
people will like, wow, this is good. And then, of course, you can send an email like, hey, Carl, well, to get even more out of your television, we have this incredible soundbar. Or did you know that you can connect it to the internet if you add, I don't know, the Google Chrome thing, whatever. And that you can do for all products. We had a client that sells plants online. So things like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they send out an email, for example, if there's plans for outside, they send an email in summer. They said like, oh, in this heat, don't forget to give your plants some extra love and water. Just that. It's like, wow, cool. And when winter comes, they say, hey, you bought this and this from us. Do you know that that plant, when you leave it outside in winter, it will not survive. So you have to take it inside. Here's a quick tip how to do it. But there's no sale. It's just like, wow, I bought something there 6 months ago and they're just sending me an email making sure how I should take care of my plants. So next year, when spring arrives, I will buy plants from them because I know, like, hey, they care about me. And I don't have to, of course, you can send me a sales email, but they just leave a very good impression in my mind and I will talk about them. So
Yeah.
for me, that's a very important one. It's like after the sales, it's like a kind of recap email flow separate from an upsell email flow, and don't mix them together. I hate, and most customers hate emails like this, like, hey Carl, I hope you like your new television. Here's a video how to set it up, and then in the same email, hey, but we also have like a stereo and a blah and a Bluetooth speaker. Then it's like, whoa, you just
Yeah.
sent me to buy more. You didn't really mean it about, hey Carl, did you like your new television? So
For sure.
that's a very important thing, I think, that most e-commerce websites can learn something from.
Yeah, it takes a while to learn, isn't it? Because
Yeah.
sometimes it looks like, yeah, we're building an online funnel and we're
Yeah.
building those conversion rates.
Yeah.
And basically, we're building relationship with people that
That's
are
it.
emotional
Yeah.
creatures
Yeah.
that are
Yeah.
motivated by fear, and they want that someone will
Yeah.
care
Yeah.
about them, and they
Yeah.
want to have some place they
Yeah.
trust when they
Yeah.
actually buy something for
Yeah.
themselves.
Yeah. And it's like in every country the situation is different, but in most countries you have those big players, or in most parts of the world you have the Amazon likes, or in Europe you have Zalando for clothing that's very popular. So there are these big brands, and if you're a smaller brand, just don't copy them because that will not end up in good things most of the time. But it's like looking for that personal relationship. If you would have a real store, in real retail, why do people come to your store? What is your unique point? How do you help your customers and make that relation as personal as possible? Like I said, that cool blue thing that's so big here in Belgium and the Netherlands, they have their slogan, their tagline is like everything for a smile, but they really mean it. They have now also taken over the last mile. So if you live in a city, they have their own delivery people, and it's like it's a happy moment in my life. It
Yeah.
tells a lot about me. But when they're there, you open the door, they have like a blue and an orange, and they're always like, "Hey, Carl, how is your day?" That this other postage people is like, "Here's your package." It's like bam, and they're like, "Hey, Carl, how is your day? I have good news. We have your," and it's like they have like 1 or 2 minute time frame. Of course, I can't do a conversation with them for 10 minutes either, but that 2 minutes, I think it brings joy in many people's life. And for me, it really works as a brand, and other people will not like it because it's like, yeah, is it really true? And they have a strange kind of humor, but they have a real identity, and yeah, it works because the customer satisfaction score when we do the study was 4.7 out of 5, which is incredible. But it's like even now it has become a big company. It still feels like a personal thing with that the delivery person at your door. It's like cool. So yeah, I think even for big brands, but especially for smaller brands, the personal relationship, what you mentioned, is so important.
Yeah.
At the other side of the screen is a human being. You are a human being. And yes, in between is technology, the website and email marketing, automation, blah, blah, blah. Nah, doesn't matter. It's important, the technical stuff, but it's a human being to a human being. And just make it as normal as you would do it in real life. That's all. That's in the 20 years. It's the one thing I always say. Like, don't do anything online you wouldn't do in real life. It's
Yeah.
just the same. It's yeah, it's a normal relationship. And yeah, you're smiling now. That's also what we try to do. Or sometimes it depends on the tone of voice of your company, but try to make your customers happy. Make them smile. Sometimes do something strange or quirky in your product description. It's like, oh, people. And also in the confirmation email. It's most confirmation emails. They're like so boring. It's I don't know. There's no soul in it. There's nothing there. But just make them a little bit different. Make your
So
customer smile, because when you make somebody smile, it's very difficult. When you make me smile in the same email where you announce that my delivery will be 2 days later than expected, but you do something crazy in there, maybe a stupid gift, whatever. But then it's very difficult for me to get angry at you because you just made me smile. You have bad news, but you make me smile, and I'm like, I'm far more willing to forgive you. And that's humor is so important in general. It has to go with your brand, of course, but
sure.
yeah. And I think most e-commerce owners should do that at least once a month. It's just order something on your own web shop, go through the process, see at the email flow. Is it still up to date? Is it working? Can it be improved? Is it something that makes you smile, or is it like, oh yes, it's a confirmation email? Nah. Because that
Yeah.
will give you the same impression to your customer. Yeah.
So would you, for e-commerce brands that have already gone through some journey, with themselves on, improving, and yes, they were more focused on conversion rates and maybe didn't quite talk, we're talking about the customer journeys. And now, they're looking to really scale and get into a point where they're, going from $500,000 into $2 million revenue. What would be the first thing you would advise them to do in regards to removing those stress points and building trust with customers?
Do those little surveys by yourself or an external company. It's always for then it depends, of course, but it really depends. It should be. What I think is most difficult for most companies is to take a distance from your own webshop and your own experience. So
Yeah.
the surveys will help, because then you get answers by your customers, and it will probably help to open your eyes. And otherwise, you have to go to an external company, but they should do the reviews. Like I said, it's not enough to sit in a brainstorm room or a co-working workshop, blah blah blah, drinking coffee and talking about the website. That for me, it's crap. That's not user research. You should do the proper research, and like I said, for these kind of things, the surveys with the good questions.
Yeah. When you want to scale, get to know your customers,
Yeah,
really.
get to know your
Talk to
customers, and some don't. don't be afraid to ask for negative things. Something very popular is the NPS score. Like, how likely is it that you would recommend blah blah blah? That's a stupid. I think it's a stupid question. There's also the customer effort score, which is like, how difficult was it to order something on our website today? And of course, the outcome will be less positive,
Of
but
course.
you will learn so much from them. If you really poke, you encourage your customer to find something negative, and if you do that for these steps, the pre-sale, the sale, the delivery, the customer support, and you always ask those things like, what can we do to improve? How difficult was it to? Oh, that will give you tons of information to improve, and that will really help you to improve your service. So be open to it, and be open to your customers and customer feedback, and really encourage them to say negative things. Then
Beautiful.
if you have that kind of mindset, it will really help you to get to the next level.
Carl, it was a pleasure. Really,
Same
so much
here.
knowledge and so much passion. I'm
Yeah.
sure everyone that listens to us right now are going to, talk with some customers and really get to
Yeah.
know them and understand their pain points.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for that.
It was my pleasure.
Until next time.
All right. Happy to do
Toda
that. Have a nice day. Bye bye.
Bye bye.